kind of solutions or services you are providing to companies that are going for this shift to cloud?
Yeah.
In terms of service.
Yeah. So as you saw, our Ivanti Neurons platform, that platform that I talked about, it's a complete SaaS-based cloud platform. So as enterprises are going through their digital transformation and moving their workloads, we call it, into cloud as a SaaS offering, they can consume our Ivanti Neurons platform and get that service delivered by us, where we can deliver the service for them to manage the devices, secure those devices, every device type enterprises have, but most importantly, how we can prevent any kind of cyber breach happening on those devices or in those enterprises, right? So the entire stack, the solution, the software that we offer with our Neurons platform is a true cloud platform. I mean, so that's where a big part of our innovation is being driven out of.
One, large enterprises have keenness and also money to put on security. Mid-sized companies always have a challenge. They want to do what their resources are limited. So do you also have solutions and products that cater to mid to small-sized companies?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, of the 45,000 customers that I mentioned earlier, over 50% of those customers are what we call mid-market or mid-maturity customers. They are not all of them are large enterprise customers. And our solutions truly do cater for mid-market, mid-maturity customers. The price point at which we offer these cloud services is very much attractive to the mid-maturity customers or mid-market customers who do not have the kind of resources and funds that we typically see in a large enterprise, right? So, in fact, Ivanti's history, growth, and the journey over the last many years have been primarily in mid-market, mid-maturity. And now we are growing more and more in the enterprise world, but our DNA definitely comes from the mid-market customer base.
One last question for you. I don't want to ask you in terms of CapEx, I know India is the majority market in terms of technology, does a lot of talent too. What kind of CapEx have you thought for India in the next 1 to 2 years? Where will this investment go?
So I can't absolutely give you the dollar amount. However, I will say as we go from 700 to 2,000, which is almost 500 to 2,000, it's almost 4x growth in the employee base. And just to give you a perspective, in fact, of all the R&D that Ivanti is investing in, 80% of the R&D is happening out of our India offices here. So you can almost do a rough math on the amount of investments from an overall CapEx perspective or OpEx perspective that we are investing here from all of our employees here in India.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Penny. Sure. Others have questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, I can see Ratna. She has put up your hand. Ratna, please go ahead.
Ratna, you're on mute. You're speaking.
Yeah, and could you also introduce yourself, please? Maybe she has an audio issue. Anyone else? Any more questions?
You can also take questions in the chat if anyone's having technical issues coming off mute.
I have a couple of queries, if that's fine.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. We have seen in the last 18 months, because of COVID, one industry has moved to work from home more, and life sciences companies, particularly pharma and biotech, has got into new drug development and new vaccine development, and in the process they have become targets for cyber attacks. So, is your team looking at something towards, say, threat hunting and also cyber forensics for industries that need critical support to keep their data and also IT infrastructure safe?
Absolutely funny. So if you really look at, I'll give you some very specific examples about India. So while the vaccine development and research has been happening around the world, so Ivanti and Bristol has actually helped 3 major pharma companies in India, 2 from Hyderabad, to recover from massive ransomware attacks. So this is not public news yet, but when you look at some news that came in from DRL, while Dr. Reddy's was a primary target, several other pharma companies were targeted, and we, Bristol and Ivanti, actually helped them not only recover, but stay secure. So what we have done is, as part of the commitment, we started doing what's called a ransomware series. So we actually take a look at the vulnerabilities and the exploits used by ransomware gangs to go target life sciences, critical infrastructure, and we help these companies, one, be proactive, and for the companies to recover, we also help them. It's not only just recovery, it's remediation and ensuring that attack doesn't happen. So every quarter, what we're doing is we're helping the world with, these are the vulnerabilities, these are the threats, these are the groups you have to be aware of. So we're actually one of the pioneers in the world. And to that, I can be very comfortable to share. If you look at WannaCry, which is one of the most used ransomware strains on pharma sectors, and one of the most widely used ransomware in India, in pharma, the actual malware was developed, the exploit was developed by our team to share the world that, hey, you have to be careful. If you're not capable, this will be used by the bad guys against you. So we're not only educating and bringing the awareness, but we're also helping companies be proactive.
I guess Rafa has shared some questions, so I'll give a...
Yes, go ahead.
Absolutely. So this is a great question, right? So when you look at the national regulatory frameworks, so every country is looking at 2 perspectives. So one, the security itself, and the second piece, the regulations are looking at this price. I mean, you can call them twin sisters or twin brothers, right? So each of them go in hand, because all you're doing is ensuring the data we're collecting from the citizens is secure, and it's used for its intended collection, and it's not ever being misused. Right? You'll see countries, when it called the law of the land, right? So each country has different regulations of how the data can be collected, can be used, and what it needs to be secure. So today, we focus quite a bit on ensuring access to the data. So Ivanti has Zero Trust framework, where we have Pulse Secure is an Ivanti company. It's all about granting access to the right individuals and right systems and the right software. So we do work quite a bit on that, and we ensure the local regulations and the local frameworks are actually kept in mind when we not only design but build our solutions.
So now hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you so much. But I have one more question, if you don't mind. See,
Sure.
there is really not uniformity in the devices one to use. There are people who have high-end laptops, there are people who have simple laptops, or for the matter mobile phones. So how do you really, there is a gap, between technicalities that are involved for cybersecurity. So, can you just tell me how do you address that? Because India, not many people can afford all these high-end, devices, which can provide some good protection.
A great question, Ratna. In fact, I would say that most organizations have different version of devices, different types of devices. To your point, some will be high-end, but most may be pretty basic, right? Not very high-end devices, whether they are mobile devices or any kind of laptops or desktops people may have. The beauty of our endpoint management offering that I shared earlier is to address that heterogeneous nature of different devices enterprises have, whether it's high-end or not high-end devices. That is, we call it single pane of glass to manage every device type independent of the operating system you're running on those devices, independent of the various configuration on those devices. We truly have the ability, technically, to be able to manage that heterogeneous version of devices that every enterprise has, especially in today's day and age when everyone mostly is working from home, right? And in home, there are multiple devices that everyone uses, some high-end and some not so high-end. So we, in fact, are the top 3 vendors in our software for managing all those devices. We call it endpoint management. We do go head-to-head and compete with Microsoft of the world and VMware's of the world. And given price points are very attractive for, like I said, mid-market customers who do not have the kind of resources or the funds as the large enterprises have. So our software is very attractive for those kind of companies and enterprises. I can't go into all the technical details, but that's our sweet spot to be able to manage the heterogeneous landscape of devices companies have.
That's good. That's good. Okay, just one genuine question. I just want to understand. There is a lot of awareness being created, whether it is institutions like RBI and others who have been constantly telling people about cyber threats and cyber security. Despite the awareness, there has been, multiple increase in breaches. So as a company, how do you really, go about educating people? Because education is really not helped. The cyber crime is on the increase despite, the awareness. They are 2 steps forward and it's by the time you really catch them up, they're still further away. So, it's just a very general question that I just wanted to know that how do you really, where do you kind of catch these criminals?
I'll make one comment and I'll have to Sri, because she is our cybersecurity expert. When just a few years back, cybersecurity as a topic or cybercrime as a topic was not a common man topic, right? None of us talked about it in our day-to-day life. Now it's impacting every industry and common man, right? So now it's a matter of, to your point, how do we educate, how do we increase awareness, how do we amplify the solutions or the various software that companies have to be able to protect themselves. So it's night and day what it was just 12 months back or 2 years back to what it is now, right? So
absolutely, it's a great question, Ratna. Think about digitalization, right? So you brought up a very good point. So every part of the world is going through digital transformation, and then COVID actually took that way, right? From payment, right? From the way you order your food, the way you procure what we call essentials. And also in the last 5 years, every government went towards what's called electronic voting systems. I mean, you can look at India, right? There was a big queue that the machines are being hacked into it. In the US, there's a big claim and big noise, is the election being conducted in a fair way? So when you start looking at these things that matter, humanity, So what matters to the human being? Your liberty, right? Your voice. That's a right.
Yeah.
What matters to you? How you procure, how you pay, your electricity, right? So your water. Every single thing is controlled. When they start hearing, like Nike's point, cybersecurity is becoming a discussion. Every newspaper covers about it today. In the US, I can tell you this, there's not a single day you will not see the national newspaper without the cybersecurity incident, right? I'm pretty sure you see them in India too, because India is the tech capital, right? That's where the most software is done. So if you come to the question, we call it asymmetric warfare.
Yeah.
What this really means is the haves and the have-nots. I mean, that's not new to any developing nation like India, right? So companies that have the money keep investing in cybersecurity. The companies don't have it get hit. But the interesting part is, for me, I can spend all the money I need. I can. However, for a guy to attack, all he needs is time, a laptop, and a good internet connection. Right? And that's available across the board. So we call it an asymmetric threat. What we call a castle in a moat today is not going to work anymore, because your moat and your castle can be broken into. For you to protect it, you have to invest a lot of money. For me to break in, all I need to do is find one weakness. So it's a very unfortunate situation. We are in a world where asymmetric warfare is going to be a big thing. So how do we secure this? That's where, if you remember, Nike's vision and Ivanti's mission to prevent breaches is exactly what we're promoting. What we're saying is, you've got to be proactive about understanding your weakness, understanding your misconfigurations, understanding what you need to patch. If you look at the cybersecurity problem, you can peel it apart. We joke internally, shift left, shift right. Today we're on a shift right. We go build a system,